Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Earth-ship Horizon and watched the stars through the main window. This was humanity's first real journey into deep space, and finally built a ship that could travel faster than light. Jake felt proud, but also nervous. Earth had sent them to explore new worlds and maybe find other life in the universe. The Horizon was not a big ship compared to what would come later, but it was the best Earth could build. Lisa Carter sat at her communications desk, listening. For any strange signals in space, Ron Davis worked in the engine room, making sure their new, faster-than-light drive kept working. The crew of 30 people had trained for years for this mission. They had been traveling for 3 weeks when Lisa suddenly sat up straight in her chair. Her face went pale as she looked at her screen. "Captain Morrison," she said in a quiet voice, "you need to see this." Jake walked over to her station. On the screen was a shape that made no sense. It was huge, maybe 50 times bigger than their ship. The object was smooth and looked like it was made of crystal. It glowed with a soft blue light. "Is it a ship?" Jake asked. "I think so," Lisa said. "And Captain, it's coming toward us." Ron's voice came over the speaker from the engine room. "Captain, I'm seeing weird readings on our instruments. Something big is out there." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was the moment every human had wondered about for centuries. First contact with aliens. He took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. "Lisa, can you try to talk to them?" "I'm sending out basic math signals and pictures," Lisa said. "Maybe. They'll understand we're trying to be friendly." The alien ship moved closer. It was beautiful, but also scary because of its size. Jake could see smaller lights moving around inside the crystal walls. Then something amazing happened. A voice came. Through their radio, speaking perfect English. "Greetings, small vessel. I am Ambassador Zethkar of the Valerian Empire. We have been watching your species develop spaceflight technology. We come in peace." Jake felt surprised and excited at the same time. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth ship Horizon. We're honored to meet you. May we bring our ship alongside yours? We would like to meet face to face." Jake looked around at his crew. Everyone looked nervous but excited, of course. "We welcome the meeting." The alien ship moved next to the Horizon with amazing grace. A tube of light connected the two ships. Jake, Lisa, and Ron put on their best uniforms and walked to the airlock. When the door opened, they saw their first alien, Ambassador Zethkar. He was tall and thin, maybe 7 feet high. His skin was silver and seemed to glow softly. Eyes were much larger than human eyes and were completely black. He moved with slow, careful steps. 2 other aliens stood behind him, dressed in flowing robes. "Welcome to Galactic civilization," Zethkar said with what might have been a smile. "Your species has reached an important moment. We represent the Galactic Council, a union of thousands of worlds across the galaxy." Jake felt amazed. Thousands of worlds with intelligent life. "We had no idea so many civilizations existed." "Oh yes," Zethkar said as they walked to the Horizon's meeting room. "The galaxy is full of life and culture. We have been exploring space for over 50,000 of your years. We have much to teach younger species like yours." They sat around a table in the meeting room. Zethkar seemed very interested in learning about Earth and humans. He asked many questions about their planet, their history, and their culture. "Tell me about the challenges your world has faced," Zethkar said. "How has your species survived and grown?" Jake thought this was an easy question. Earth has always been a tough place to live. We've survived several ice ages where most of the planet froze over. We've had huge volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun for years. Asteroids have hit our planet and wiped out most life several times. But somehow, life always came back stronger." Zethkar's large eyes seemed to get even bigger. "Your planet has experienced multiple extinction events." "Oh sure," Jake said with a small laugh. "Scientists say we've had at least 5 major ones. The biggest one killed almost everything on Earth about 250 million years ago. But life found a way to survive and start over." Lisa joined the conversation. "Humans ourselves have faced many challenges. We've survived diseases that killed millions of people. We've lived through wars, famines, and natural disasters. We've learned to live." In every environment on Earth, from the frozen Arctic to hot deserts to high mountains. You live in frozen areas and hot deserts? One of the other aliens asked, sounding shocked. Sure, Ron said. Humans live everywhere on Earth. Some people live where it's 60 degrees below zero. Others live where it's 130 degrees above zero. We can adapt to almost anything. Jake noticed that the aliens were looking at each other with strange expressions. He couldn't read their faces, but something seemed wrong. Is everything okay? Oh yes, Zethkar said quickly. We're just impressed by your species' ability to survive difficult conditions. Tell me, do you have conflicts on your world? Mean wars? Jake asked. Yes, humans have fought each other throughout history. We've had to learn military strategy, weapons development, and battlefield tactics. We've created armies and navies and air forces, but we're trying to move past all that now. What kind of weapons have you developed? Zethkar asked, and his voice sounded different now. Jake wondered why the alien wanted to know about weapons, but he answered honestly. We started with simple tools like spears and arrows. Then we invented gunpowder and cannons. Eventually, we built nuclear weapons that could destroy entire cities. We have missiles that can travel thousands of miles and hit exact targets. The aliens were very quiet now. Jake felt like he had said something wrong, but he wasn't sure what. Your atmosphere, one alien said slowly. What gases does it contain? Mostly nitrogen and oxygen, Lisa answered. About 21% oxygen. Aliens looked shocked. They whispered to each other in their own language. Jake caught some words that sounded worried. Is oxygen dangerous? Jake asked. It's very reactive, Zethkar said carefully. Most species in the galaxy breathe much gentler gases. Oxygen can cause fires and explosions very easily. Jake laughed. Yes, we know. We have to be careful with it, but it gives us lots of energy. It lets us run fast and think quickly. We need it to survive. What is the gravity on your world? Another alien asked. Standard Earth gravity, Jake said. Why? The aliens whispered. Jake was starting to feel uncomfortable. These aliens seemed scared of something, but he didn't understand what. Ambassador? Jake said. Is there a problem? Zethkar was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, No problem at all. We're just very interested in your unique world. We have much to discuss with the Galactic Council about how to help your species join galactic civilization. But Jake could see worry in the aliens' big black eyes. Something about Earth and humans had frightened these advanced aliens. Jake decided to keep watching and listening carefully. He had the feeling that this first contact was not going the way anyone had expected. As the meeting continued, Jake noticed the aliens asking more and more questions about human physical abilities, their technology, and their military history. Each answer seemed to make the aliens more nervous. Jake began to wonder what they had gotten themselves into. The galaxy might be full of intelligent life, but maybe humans were different in ways they didn't yet understand. Maybe that difference was not something the aliens were happy about. Ambassador Zethkar rushed back to his ship as soon as the meeting with the humans ended. His hands were shaking as he sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council. He had never sent an emergency message before in his 300 years as a diplomat. The message was simple, but terrifying. Immediate council meeting required. Have discovered Class 12 Deathworld species. They have spaceflight. Repeat. Deathworlders have achieved spaceflight. Within 6 hours, the Great Council Chamber on the capital world of Nexus Prime was filled with representatives from across the galaxy. High Counselor Vexman of the Ethan Collective called the emergency session to order. The ethereal Ethans floated in their energy forms while the insect-like crystal clicked their mandibles nervously. The aquatic Mordens had brought special water tanks to attend the meeting. Read the report, Vexman commanded in his musical voice. Zethkar stood before the great assembly. His silver skin had lost its glow and looked dull with worry. The species calls themselves humans. They come from the third planet of a yellow star system. Initial scans confirmed our worst fears. The planet is a Class 12 death world. Shocked whispers filled the chamber. In the 50,000 years of galactic civilization, only 3 Class 12 death worlds had ever been found. None had produced Intelligent life that survived long enough to develop technology? Explain the classification, demanded General Crixmoth of the Crystal military. Zethkar activated a hologram showing Earth. The planet's gravity is 1.8 times galactic standard. The atmosphere contains over 20% oxygen, which is highly toxic and reactive. The surface is bombarded by dangerous radiation from their star. The planet has frequent natural disasters, including volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and severe weather patterns. The council members moved restlessly. Even looking at the images of Earth made many of them uncomfortable. But the worst part, Zethkar continued, is what these conditions have created. The dominant species has not just survived, they have thrived. They live in every environment on their planet. They consider extreme cold, heat, and pressure to be normal parts of life. Captain Susan Blake had arrived on the second human ship to join the cultural exchange. She was Earth's best scientist who studied alien life. She had no idea that her every word was being recorded and analyzed by increasingly worried aliens. "Oh yes," Susan said cheerfully. When asked about human recreation, we love challenging ourselves. Rock climbing is very popular. People climb mountains that are over 5 miles high, where the air is so thin that most people need oxygen tanks. Deep-sea diving is fun too. We go down into the ocean where the pressure would crush most vehicles. The alien observer, a peaceful Morden named Blue Wave, felt sick listening to this. The pressure Susan described would instantly kill any Morden, even with their strongest protective suits. "We also enjoy extreme sports," Susan continued. "Skydiving, where we jump out of aircraft and fall toward the ground at high speed. Surfing, where we ride on top of dangerous ocean waves that could easily drown us. Racing vehicles at speeds over 200 miles per hour just for excitement." Back in the council chambers, the report continued. "They treat deadly activities as entertainment," Zethkar said. "What they call sports would be considered military training exercises by most civilizations." Councillor Vexman asked. The question everyone feared: what about their military capabilities? Colonel Pete Wagner had been happy to discuss human military history when the aliens asked. He thought they were just curious about human culture. "Modern warfare has taught us to think strategically," he explained to a group of alien observers. "We study our enemies, find their weaknesses, and exploit them. We develop new weapons constantly, because if we don't, someone else will develop better ones first." "What kinds of weapons?" asked a nervous Ethan observer. "Well, we started simple," Pete said. "Sharp sticks, rocks, bows and arrows. Then we invented gunpowder and firearms. Chemical weapons that could kill thousands at once. That could destroy entire cities and leave the land poisoned for decades." The alien observers exchanged horrified looks. Most galactic species had never developed weapons more dangerous than basic energy projectors. "Of course," Pete continued, "we also developed guided missiles that can hit targets from thousands of miles away. Stealth aircraft that can't be detected. Submarines that can hide underwater for months. Biological weapons that could wipe out entire populations." The alien taking notes had to stop several times because his hands were shaking too much to write. Dr. Ben Torres, Earth's language expert, was working with the ship's computer to learn alien languages. He was making amazing progress, much faster than the aliens expected. What the aliens didn't know was that humans were naturally good at learning languages because their harsh world had forced many different groups to communicate with each other to survive. "Fascinating," Ben said as he studied Valerian grammar. "Your language is quite logical, much simpler than some Earth languages. We have over 7,000 different languages on our planet. Many humans speak 3 or 4 languages fluently." The Valerian linguist felt confused. His own species had only developed 2 languages in their entire history, and most individuals only spoke 1. Back in the council chambers, the discussion grew more intense. "Their adaptability is beyond anything we've seen," reported Dr. Zelthek, the council's leading biologist. "They can survive in temperatures from -42 plus 50 degrees Celsius. They can function at altitudes where oxygen levels would cause brain damage in most species. So their immune systems fight off diseases that would kill us in ours."
What?
"About their physical capabilities?" asked General Crixmoth. "Terrifying," Zolthek replied. "Their muscle density is 3 times galactic average. Their bone strength could withstand impacts that would shatter our skeletons. They can run for hours without stopping, lift weights equal to their own body mass, and their reflexes are incredibly fast. Counselor Nestar of the peaceful Zephyrian Federation stood up. Surely, they are a primitive species. Their technology must be far behind ours. Zethkar shook his head sadly. That's what I thought too. But their ship's design is actually quite advanced. They've solved several engineering problems that have challenged our best scientists for centuries. And they did it independently, without any outside help. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. A Deathworld species had not only survived conditions that would kill most galactic life, but they had developed advanced technology and achieved spaceflight. They were everything the galaxy feared most. Survivors who had been hardened by the worst conditions imaginable. What do they want? Asked Vexman quietly. To explore, to learn, to meet other species, Zethkar answered. They seem genuinely friendly and peaceful. For now, said General Cricksmith grimly. But what happens when they realize how much stronger they are than the rest of us? What happens when they discover that most of the galaxy would be defenseless against them? The council spent hours debating. Some wanted to welcome humanity and hope for the best. Others wanted to declare them a galactic threat immediately. But most agreed on a middle path suggested by High Counselor Vexman. We will contain them, Vexman announced. We'll offer them limited trade agreements and technology sharing, but only if they agree to stay in their home system. We'll tell them it's for gradual integration into galactic society. We'll give them enough benefits that they won't want to refuse. And if they do refuse, asked General Cricksmith, then we use the combined fleets of the galactic military too. Force them back to their death world and keep them there, Vexman replied coldly. The vote was close, but the containment plan passed. The galaxy's greatest civilizations had decided that humanity was too dangerous to roam free among the stars. What they didn't know was that humans had been listening to every word. Lisa Carter had not stopped working since the alien meeting ended. While everyone else slept, she sat at her communication station running secret scans on the alien transmissions. Captain Morrison had told her to do this before they ever left. Earth, it was basic human military thinking. Always listen to your enemies, even when they pretend to be friends. Dr. Ben Torres worked beside her, his fingers flying over his keyboard as he tried to decode the alien languages. The ship's computer helped, but Ben's brain was doing most of the work. He was one of Earth's smartest people when it came to understanding how languages worked. I'm getting something, Ben whispered to Lisa. Their basic communication patterns are becoming clear. Listen to this. He played back a recording of alien voices speaking in their own language. To most people, it would sound like musical nonsense, but Ben had learned to understand parts of it. They keep using a word that means dangerous or threat, Ben said, and another word that I think means contain or trap. They're talking about us, Lisa. Lisa felt her heart start beating faster. Can you understand more? Give me a few more hours, Ben said. But Lisa, I don't think they're as friendly as they pretend to be. 3 hours later, Ben had broken enough of their language to understand the basic meaning of the alien transmissions. What he learned made his blood run cold. Captain Morrison, Lisa called softly over the intercom. You need to come here right now. Jake arrived quickly, still half asleep. What is it? They're planning to trap us, Ben said. I've been listening. To their communications, they're scared of us, Captain. They think we're too dangerous to let loose in the galaxy. Jake sat down heavily in a chair. Are you sure? Positive, Ben replied. They keep calling Earth a death world, and humans Deathworlders. They're planning to offer us a deal that sounds good, but will keep us locked in our own solar system forever. And if we refuse the deal, Jake asked, though he already knew, the answer would be bad. They'll use their military to force us back to Earth and make sure we never leave again, Lisa said quietly. Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then he made the most important decision in human history. Send everything we've learned back to Earth immediately. Full data burst, maximum encryption. Admiral Sullivan needs to know what we're facing. On Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan was in a meeting with President Richard Stone when the message from the horizon arrived. She read it twice before she believed it. Then she called an emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council. They want to cage us, Admiral Sullivan told the room full of Earth's most important leaders. I think we're too dangerous to be free. General Tom Hayes, Earth's chief military strategist, stood up and walked to the big map of local space. How many ships do they have? Unknown, Admiral Sullivan replied, but probably thousands, maybe tens of thousands. And we have 12 ships, General Hayes said grimly. 14, corrected Dr. Amy Ross, Earth's top physicist. The new ones are almost ready. President Stone looked around the room. Options. We could accept their deal, suggested Secretary of State Mary Clark. Get their technology, learn from them, build up our strength over time, while trapped in our own solar system, like animals in a zoo. General Hayes replied angrily. Humans don't accept cages. Dr. Amy Ross spoke up. I've been studying the alien technology they shared with us. It's not as advanced as they want us to think. Everyone turned to look at her. Explain, the president said. Their energy systems are actually less efficient than our fusion reactors, Dr. Ross said. Their materials are weaker than our newest alloys. Their computers are slower than ours. I think they've been using the same technology for so long that they stopped trying to improve it. Engineer Carl Johnson nodded in agreement. I've been taking apart their equipment. It's well made, but the design is thousands of years old. They don't innovate anymore. They just copy what worked before. Admiral Sullivan felt hope beginning to grow. What are you saying? I'm saying they might not be as superior as they think they are, Dr. Ross replied. They've had peace for so long that they've grown soft. We've been fighting and struggling and improving our whole existence. We might actually be more advanced than they are in ways that matter. General Hayes smiled for the first time in days. Then we prepare for war. Meanwhile, back in space, the aliens were putting their plan into action. Trade Minister Clickstar of the Crystal Hive arrived at the meeting point with a fleet of impressive-looking ships. His insect-like face tried to look friendly as he greeted Captain Morrison. Greetings, humans, Clickstar clicked. The Galactic Council has sent me with wonderful news. Want to welcome you into our community with a special partnership. Smiled politely, though he now knew this alien was lying. We're honored by your offer. We will share our advanced technology with you, Clickstar continued. Medical knowledge that can cure diseases, energy systems that will power your world, manufacturing techniques that will make your people rich and comfortable. That sounds amazing, Jake said. What do you want in return? Very little, Clickstar lied smoothly. Simply stay in your home system while we help you develop. Space is dangerous for new species. There are pirates, hostile aliens, dangerous radiation fields. We want to protect you while you grow stronger. For how long? Jake asked. Oh, not long, Clickstar said. Perhaps a few hundred of your years. Just until you're ready for the wider galaxy. Jake nodded as if he was considering the offer. We'll need to discuss this with our government. Of course, Clickstar agreed. But remember, this is a limited-time offer. The Council might not be so generous if you wait too long to accept. The threat was clear, even though Clickstar tried to hide it with friendly words. Back on Earth, the response was immediate. Every shipyard worked day and night to build more vessels. Every factory switched to making weapons and armor. Every scientist worked on improving human technology. Dr. Emma Walsh made an amazing discovery while studying alien medical data. Their immune systems are incredibly weak, she told Admiral Sullivan. A common cold virus from Earth would probably kill most of them. They've lived in such clean, controlled environments for so long that they can't fight off diseases anymore. Dr. Yi. Rick Adams found something even more interesting. Captain, look at this data about their homeworlds. Most of them live on planets with half Earth's gravity, thin atmospheres, and very stable weather. They've never had to deal with storms, earthquakes, or temperature changes. What does that mean? Admiral Sullivan asked. It means they're weak, Dr. Adams replied. Not just their technology, but their bodies, their minds, their whole way of thinking. They don't know how to handle problems because they've never had any real problems. Meanwhile, Captain Steve Miller was leading humanity's first official trade mission to the Galactic hub world. The aliens had no idea that his ship was actually gathering intelligence on their capabilities and weaknesses. This is incredible, Navigator, Lynn Parker said as they approached the alien space station. Look at their ships, Captain. They're beautiful, but they look fragile. Security Chief Kelly Turner was more interested in their weapons. I'm not seeing. Any serious defensive systems? Their weapons look like they're designed for show, not for actual fighting. Dr. Rick Adams, who had joined the mission, studied the aliens themselves. Notice how they move, he told the others. Slow, careful, like they're afraid of getting hurt. And look at their environmental suits. They need protection from things that wouldn't bother a human child. The more humans learned about the galaxy, the more they realized the truth. The aliens weren't superior beings who had outgrown violence and struggle. They were a galaxy full of weaklings who had forgotten how to be strong, and now they had made the mistake of threatening a species that had never learned how to be weak. Captain Morrison sent one final message to Earth. They've shown their true colors. The galaxy thinks it can cage humanity. Time to show them what happens when you corner a predator. 6 months had passed since first contact. The differences between humans and the rest of the galaxy were becoming impossible to hide. Captain Steve Miller's trade mission to the galactic hub world of Kepler V had turned into something no one expected. Humans were not just surviving in alien space. They were excelling in ways that shocked everyone. The first sign of trouble came when Steve and his crew arrived at the space station. The alien docking controller, a nervous Ethan named Lixwin, gave them detailed instructions for a slow, careful approach that would take 2 hours. Understood, Steve replied. But we can dock in 15 minutes if you prefer. Impossible, Lixwin said. The gravitational stresses and precise calculations required for fast docking would destroy most ships. Steve smiled. Navigator Parker, take us in. Lynn Parker brought the human ship Phoenix to the docking port in exactly 14 minutes. 30 seconds. The maneuvers she performed would have ripped apart any alien vessel, but the Phoenix was built to handle the gravitational forces around Jupiter. A simple space station docking was easy. Alien ships throughout the area stopped what they were doing to watch. Word spread quickly through the station's communication networks. The Deathworlders had just performed impossible flight maneuvers, like they were routine. When Steve's team left their ship, they caused an even bigger sensation. The space station's atmosphere was considered harsh by galactic standards, requiring most species to wear breathing apparatus. The humans walked out, without any protection at all. The atmosphere is quite thin, warned station manager Veltok, a worried-looking Valerian. And the temperature fluctuates by 20 degrees. Feels comfortable, replied Dr. Rick Adams, who was wearing only a light jacket. Reminds me of Denver in spring. Security Chief Kelly Turner lifted a cargo container that 3 alien workers had been struggling to move. She picked it up with one hand and carried it to where it needed to go. The alien workers stared in amazement. How is that possible?
One of them whispered.
Basic human strength, Kelly said with a shrug. This gravity is only about half of Earth normal. Everything feels light here. The aliens began to realize that humans were not just different, they were superior in almost every physical way. But the real shock came when the Phoenix received a distress call. Human vessel Phoenix came a panicked transmission. This is merchant ship Golden Wind. We are under attack by pirates in the Outer Rim. Our escort has been destroyed. Please help if you can. Steve looked at his crew. The Phoenix was technically a merchant vessel, but like all human ships, it had been built with military capabilities. Can we reach them in time? If we push the engines hard, Lynn said. But Captain, we don't know how many pirates there are. Doesn't matter, Steve replied. Someone needs help. We go. The Phoenix jumped to faster than light speed, pushing its engines beyond what any alien ship could handle. They reached the battle zone in 3 hours, a journey that would have taken most galactic ships to days. What they found was a nightmare that had been terrorizing galactic shipping for years. 3 large pirate vessels surrounded the damaged merchant ship. The pirates were known criminals who had been operating in this area for decades because no galactic military force could catch them. This is Captain Steve Miller of the Earth ship Phoenix. Steve broadcast on all frequencies. Release the merchant vessel immediately and surrender. The pirate leader, a cruel being called Scarthel, laughed over the radio. 1 small ship against 3 of ours? You Deathworlders are as stupid as you are ugly. Prepare to die. The pirate ships opened fire with weapons that had destroyed dozens of galactic vessels. The energy beams and explosive projectiles hit the Phoenix directly. Aliens watching expected to see the human ship destroyed instantly. Instead, the Phoenix's shields held easily. The weapons that had been devastating to galactic ships barely scratched the human vessel's defenses. "Our turn," Steve said calmly. The Phoenix fired once. A single beam of energy struck the lead pirate ship and cut it completely in half. The weapon was based on human fusion technology, concentrated into a cutting tool that could slice through asteroids for mining. Against a ship built to galactic standards, it was devastating. The second pirate ship tried to run. Lynn Parker piloted. The Phoenix threw a series of pursuit maneuvers that would have killed any alien crew from the gravitational forces alone. The human ship caught the fleeing pirates in minutes. "Surrender now," Steve offered. The pirates fired everything they had at the Phoenix. Missiles, energy weapons, even a gravity bomb that was supposed to crush any ship caught in its field. The Phoenix flew through all of it without slowing down. The second pirate ship surrendered. The third one had already fled into faster than light travel, its crew too terrified to keep fighting. "Golden Wind, this is Phoenix," Steve called to the rescued merchant vessel. "Are you okay?" We are fine," came the amazed reply. "But how did you destroy those ships so easily? They've been terrorizing this region for 20 years. A galactic military force could stop them." "They weren't very tough," Kelly Turner said honestly. "Their weapons were weak and their ships were fragile." The news of the Phoenix's victory spread through galactic communication networks faster than light speed. Within hours, every major civilization knew that the humans had easily destroyed pirates that had been considered unstoppable. "Hi, Counselor." Fexman called another emergency session when he heard the news. "One ship," he said to the assembled council. "One human ship destroyed threats that our combined fleets could not handle." Ambassador Zethkar had more bad news. "The reports from the trade missions are equally disturbing. Humans are excelling in every area they touch. Their medical knowledge is curing diseases that have plagued us for centuries. Their engineering improvements are making our machines work 3 times better. Their scientific insights are solving problems our best researchers have worked on for generations." Dr. Emma Walsh had caused a sensation at the Galactic Medical Conference by demonstrating human immune system responses. Diseases that killed aliens and ours were fought off by human blood samples in minutes. "We have been approaching medicine wrong for thousands of years," she explained to stunned alien doctors. "You try to create perfect, sterile environments. We learn to fight problems directly. Human immune systems are trained by constant battle with germs and viruses." Engineer Carl Johnson had improved alien manufacturing systems simply by suggesting basic techniques that humans had developed centuries ago. "You're making things too complicated," he told alien engineers. "Sometimes the simple solution works best." Dr. Rick Adams had shocked alien scientists by solving mathematical problems in his head that required their most powerful computers. "The human brain is designed for rapid calculation," he explained. "We had to develop these abilities to survive on a world where quick thinking meant the difference between life and death." Back on Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan was receiving reports that confirmed their growing suspicions. "The galaxy is not what we thought," she told President Stone. "These civilizations have been at peace for so long that they've forgotten how to be strong. They've forgotten how to fight, how to adapt, how to overcome challenges." General Tom Hayes studied the tactical reports. "Their weapons are designed for intimidation, not destruction. Their ships are built for comfort, not combat. Their military tactics are thousands of years out of date." "What are you saying?" President Stone asked. "I'm saying that we're not the primitive species they think we are," Admiral Sullivan replied. "We might be the most advanced military force the galaxy has seen in millennia. They've grown soft, but we've been hardened by our world into something they can't understand." The final proof came when Captain Tony Baker's engineering team examined a captured pirate vessel. Within 6 hours, they had improved its engine efficiency by 400%, upgraded its weapon systems, and made modifications that the original alien designers had never even considered. "It's like they stopped trying to improve anything," Tony reported. "To Earth, They build the same ships their ancestors built 1,000 years ago. They use the same tactics. They think the same way. They become stagnant. High Counselor Vexman realized the terrifying truth as he read the latest reports. Containment plan had already failed. Humans were spreading through local space, establishing trade relationships and demonstrating capabilities that made every previous assumption wrong. Activate the emergency protocols, he ordered. Assemble the Galactic Enforcement Fleet. We have to stop them before they realize how weak we really are. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you threatened a species that had never learned how to give up. The Galactic Enforcement Fleet was the largest military force assembled in over 1,000 years. 237 ships from 12 different civilizations gathered at the edge of the Sol system. High Counselor Vexman himself commanded. The fleet from the massive Ethan dreadnought Eternal Light. Admiral Kate Sullivan watched the alien fleet approach from the bridge of the Earthship Defiance. She felt calm, even though the enemy had more ships than humanity had ever built. Around her, the crew worked quietly at their stations. These were Earth's best warriors, trained from birth on a world that demanded strength. Communications incoming, reported Officer Nancy Webb. They want to talk. Put them through, Admiral Sullivan replied. Vexman's image appeared on the main screen. The alien leader looked tired and worried, but his voice was firm. Admiral Sullivan, I am High Counselor Vexman of the Galactic Council. You will order all human vessels to return to Earth immediately. Your species will remain on your home planet under Council supervision. Kate smiled coldly. And if we refuse, then we will force you back to your world and ensure you never leave again, Vexman replied. You have 1 hour to comply. The transmission ended. Kate turned to address her crew. You heard them? They want to put humanity in a cage. What do we say to that? No, came the response from every human throat in the fleet. Kate opened a channel to broadcast on all frequencies, knowing the entire galaxy was listening. You chose threats and force instead. Now you will learn why that was a mistake. The battle that followed would be remembered throughout galactic history as the Sol incident. The aliens expected to face primitive ships with simple weapons. Instead, they encountered the full military might of a species forged by the harshest world the galaxy had ever seen. Fleet Captain Chris Roberts commanded the outer system defense from his ship Guardian. His squadron included vessels commanded by Captain Sarah Mitchell, Commander Jack Newman, and Captain Tony Baker. Each human ship was built to survive the radiation storms of space, the gravitational forces of gas giants, and the asteroid impacts. Galactic civilizations for millennia struck the human fleet first. Energy beams and explosive missiles filled space with deadly light. When the barrage ended, the aliens expected to see debris and destruction. Instead, every human ship was still intact. Their shields had held against weapons designed to destroy. Conventional galactic vessels. The human ships were built to withstand much worse than anything the aliens could produce. Our turn, Captain Mitchell said calmly. The human fleet opened fire. Their weapons were based on technologies developed to cut through asteroids, drill through planets, and survive in the hostile environment of space. Against ships built for the gentle conditions of galactic civilization, they were devastating. The first salvo destroyed 18 alien vessels instantly. The second destroyed 23 more. The aliens had never seen such destructive power used so efficiently, but humanity's greatest advantage was not their ships or weapons. It was their tactical thinking. General Lisa Hayes coordinated the battle from Earth, using strategies developed over millennia of constant warfare on their death world. Squadron 7. Use Jupiter's gravity well to accelerate, she ordered. Squadron 3. Hide in the asteroid belt until they pass, then hit them from behind. Captain Mitchell's ships performed maneuvers that would have crushed any alien crew, used Jupiter's massive gravity to slingshot themselves at incredible speeds, accelerating beyond anything the alien sensors could track. The gravitational forces that would have killed galactic species were nothing to humans, who had evolved under Earth's heavy gravity. Commander Newman's fighter squadron flew through Saturn's rings, using the ice and rock as cover while they picked off enemy ships. The alien pilots could not follow because the debris field would have destroyed their fragile vessels. The turning point came when Captain Baker's engineering team did something that amazed even their human allies. They captured 3 damaged alien ships and within 2 hours had completely rebuilt them using human technology. How is this possible? Transmitted a shocked alien captain as he watched his former ship, now under human control, destroy too. We adapt, Captain Baker replied simply. It's what we do. The alien fleet began to retreat in panic. Ships that had seemed invincible just hours before fled, in disorder as human vessels pursued them through space. The humans moved with the coordination of a pack of hunters, cutting off escape routes and forcing the aliens into traps. Hi, Counselor Vexman watched his mighty fleet fall apart from the bridge of his flagship. This is impossible, he whispered. We have the most advanced technology in the galaxy. No, said Admiral Sullivan's voice over the communication channel. You have the oldest technology in the galaxy? You stopped improving it because you stopped facing challenges. We never had that luxury. The Eternal Light, pride of the Ethan fleet, tried to escape but was surrounded by human ships. Captain Tony Baker's modified alien vessel cut off its retreat while Captain Mitchell's squadron blocked its path to the jump point. Surrender, Admiral Sullivan offered. Your people don't have to die for the Council's mistakes. Vexman looked around his bridge at his terrified crew. Many were injured. From gravitational forces that humans would consider mild, his ship's systems were failing under stresses that human vessels handled routinely. His surrender, he said quietly. The battle was over in less than 6 hours. The mighty Galactic enforcement fleet had lost over 60 ships without destroying a single human vessel. The survivors limped away carrying news that would change the galaxy forever. In the aftermath, as human exploration ships began establishing colonies throughout local space, the galactic balance of power shifted completely. Captain Steve Miller's merchant fleet expanded trade routes throughout the Outer Rim. Dr. Emma Walsh's medical advances began saving lives on dozens of worlds. Engineer Carl Johnson's improvements revolutionized manufacturing across 3-star systems. The aliens who had once looked down on humanity now came begging for protection, trade agreements, and technological assistance. The pirates who had terrorized galactic shipping for decades disappeared overnight, either destroyed by human patrols or too frightened to continue their criminal activities. Ambassador Zethkar, who had started this whole chain of events, requested a meeting with Captain Morrison on the neutral world of Kepler V. The proud Valerian diplomat looked much older and more tired than when they had first met. We made a terrible mistake, Zethkar admitted. We thought you were just another primitive species to be managed and controlled. We didn't understand what your world had made you. Jake Morrison nodded. You saw our strength and decided we were dangerous, but you never asked if we were also honorable. What happens now? Zethkar asked. Now we do what we always intended to do, Jake replied. We explore, we learn, we help those who need help, and defend those who cannot defend themselves. We become part of the galaxy, not as your subjects, but as your equals. 3 months later, human ships patrolled trade routes that had been unsafe for centuries. Human doctors worked in hospitals on worlds across local space. Human engineers improved technology that had been stagnant for millennia. Human diplomats negotiated fair trade agreements that benefited all species involved. The Galactic Council still existed, but its power had shifted. The species that had once ruled through intimidation and threat now had to compete with beings who offered genuine help and protection. In his final report before retiring, wrote words that would be studied by historians for generations. We feared the Deathworlders would conquer us through violence. Instead, they conquered us through excellence. They have shown us what we could have become if we had never stopped growing, never stopped improving, never stopped facing challenges. The galaxy is better for their presence, though our pride may never recover from the lesson they taught us. Humanity had reached the stars not as conquerors, but as the friends and protectors the galaxy had been waiting for without knowing it. And they were just getting started.